At 10 Capital, we frequently talk about the 4 pillars of a wealthy life: money, health, loved ones, and legacy or charity. This week, we're with our good friend Claire Strunk to talk about why giving is good for the soul. Well, welcome, Claire. Thank you for being here to talk with all of our clients today. Tell the group a little bit about who you are, what you do, and then we'll get into why giving is good for the soul.
Great. Well, thanks for having me. I have kind of 2 different sides to my vocational life, and the first is that I own a bookkeeping business, and so we work with nonprofits and small business owners who aren't big enough to have their own finance team. And in that work, I frequently have conversations with people about money, and those are always interesting conversations because most people don't feel very comfortable talking about money. It's an emotional topic for a lot of people, either because they feel anxious about not having enough money or because they don't want to admit that they're not sure what the best plan is for their money or for their business. And then the other part of my vocational life is that I'm an ordained pastor, and so I often talk to people about how they're doing, kind of the state of their soul. And I have to say, on that front, those conversations are also interesting, but a little heartbreaking because a lot of us aren't doing well. We're feeling lonely and disconnected. So I'm always thinking about ways to help people as they're thinking about kind of the state of their soul and their relationships with loved ones.
Yeah, no, I think the world's always been a tough place, but the last 5 years have felt particularly heavy.
Yes.
So you take all that background and then you become a TedX speaker.
Yes.
So how did that come about?
Well, I've always loved the TED platform and just the idea that sharing good ideas can be good for the world. And I've learned a lot through different TED Talks. And at one point I just thought, well, I want to participate in a medium that's been so beneficial to me. And I think I realized that with these 2 different sides of my vocational life, that there was an interesting thread that I began to see, that when people started to give some of their money away, it had real and tangible effects on their life and on the world around them. And it was so compelling, I wanted other people to hear about it. Yeah,
no, for sure. Well, tell us a little bit about your thesis, the nature of that chat, and having watched your talk, you shared some pretty interesting research that might surprise people as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, what I started to realize is that there is a wealth of research around giving, and researchers who study giving and the effects of giving consistently find that people who give some of their money away are happier. But not only that, they have decreased levels of depression, they have higher work satisfaction, and in some cases, they notice decreased levels of pain in their bodies, which I just find to be wild. And what they've also found is that people who give money away one time feel these effects. So as soon as the first time, you don't have to give money away 30 times to begin to feel this way. But that people who give money away regularly, the positive effects are increased in them. And so I thought that was really interesting too. Yeah.
Have you, whether it was stuff within that research, or again, given the interplay of what you do both on the finance side and then on the personal side, any reasons why you think that all is the case outside of just the inherent, nature of giving?
Good deeds of it?
Yeah.
Well, I would say I have 2 answers to that question. I think on the financial side, when you give some money away, it kind of releases this hold that money can have on you. We're often tempted to think, I don't have enough money, or get into this scarcity mindset around it. And I think by giving some money away, that scarcity mindset, it seems counterintuitive, but it tends to loosen in a way that is really freeing to people. And then I would say on the other side of it, when you choose to give money away, it often connects you to the place that you're giving it. And so in our budget, we give a lot of money away to local organizations, and that makes us feel connected in Spokane in really beautiful ways. And I think that relational connection has been really powerful.
What do you think, outside of perhaps that scarcity mindset, are some of the common obstacles? Is there even, as silly as it might sound, I'd have to venture like, well, how do I do it, or where do I do it, or to whom do I do it? What have you found there?
Yeah, such a good question. I think, just to name the obvious, what gets in the way is people just don't think that they have money to give away, or they'll miss it, or they'll need it. That scarcity mindset is just really common. And I would say the easiest way I've seen to kind of get over that is to just start in small amounts and to make it really fun. So one of the things I like to do occasionally is just as simple as going through a drive-through and paying for the person behind me. I don't know if you've ever done that or done it lately, but it really is such a rush.
Ours is usually the ice cream store, because I have two little girls, so we're at a lot of ice cream stores. So it's usually helping buy the cup of ice cream behind us, but yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's so good. Or I know of this other group of people, and they get together once a month and go out to breakfast together, and they just commit to all bringing an extra $100 bill as a tip to the wait staff. Because a few people in this group felt really strongly about people who work in the service industry and how tight that can be. Yeah. And so they just make it really fun. It's getting together with people they already love, and it's doing this, they kind of conspire to make someone's day in this way. Yeah. And so I would say, like, starting small or giving with other people who you already like being with would be a good way to start.
I think, talking about obstacles, and again, whether it's obviously an amazing subset of clients, we get to hear and be part of, indirectly or directly, some of their charitable endeavors. The group here at TED, I'm proud to say, is a pretty charitable group. But I think too, it's like there are some people who do some amazing, massive things in the world, but to your point, it doesn't have to be. Little things can go so far, and I know it's a topic of conversation around here frequently too, just remembering how fortunate we are, remembering how blessed we are. And again, just you call them gestures, but to a lot of people, they're a really big deal. If only to help change their mindset or brighten their world. Focusing on charities and making introductions, something here at 10. If you're watching this, you want to know some of the great causes we love, we're always happy to make those introductions. Any other takeaways for the group, whether it's, I know through the videos of just generally speaking, little causes outside of the coffee shop, of ways to engage locally, or not just financially, but even with time, things you've seen people do that would be a best practice to leave as a takeaway for people? Yeah,
I would say to begin to think about the things that you are interested in and passionate about, and you can always start there. So if you are passionate about dogs and cats, then the Spokane Humane Society would be an obvious first place to start. Or sometimes it's just even having eyes to see the needs in the community around you. My children are school age, so elementary and middle school, and so it's pretty clear to us the needs at elementary and middle schools in Spokane.
Some of the stuff, the gaps that just teachers themselves fill in are incredible to help bridge those.
Yeah, if you're passionate about supporting teachers, you can drop off gift cards at school for them to help, or teachers also have a pretty good pulse on the kids in those classes in your community that need help. And so those would be pretty easy ways to start. We also do some giving that's like all the way on the other side of the world, and I think that has been important to us, just in kind of recognizing there are needs in Spokane that we are glad to be a part of, and also it's like a recognition of common humanity to remember people on the other side of the world too. So there are a lot of different ways you can go with it, and just like you said, I would say money is an important and a great way to start giving. It helps you be strategic with your own management of your own income, but giving away time and acts of service or creative works can also be really beautiful ways to give also.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We talk about all the time. In fact, anytime people start here at 10, I tell them, watch our clients. There's so much to learn. So many of you teach us all the time. And one of the things we look for is those clients who seem to have figured something out. And when they have, they're usually striking across those 4 pillars that I talked about of, yes, making good money decisions, taking care of their health, spending quality times with loved ones, faith, family, friends, and then of course working on their legacy, not just for tomorrow, but today in terms of those charitable efforts. So the happiness, we've seen it firsthand as you have, as we're heading into this year end and what is a particularly tough time for so many people. Just encourage you as always to think about that 4th pillar and maybe doing a little bit extra this year. As always, thanks so much.